Yeah, and the Dazzle with the Enigma, the heal bombs from the Eidolons. There's a lot of good stuff here for PuckChamp in terms of how they're capable of fighting against HellRaisers heroes early on. They can, one, stop the Beastmaster in the lane. Two, make Io's life very hard. Enigma is actually pretty good against heroes like Io, especially with the ability, the arsenal that the Enigma has with his abilities. And that's something that the Io constantly has to worry about. Like, am I focusing on relocate saves this game, or am I constantly tethered to somebody and most likely going to be the target by PuckChamp to just jump on him? So the Io player's got a lot on his hands, and especially if he's playing with a Razor, where you're constantly in eyesight of your opponents because you're rushing into the front line. You're running in deep. That's with the way the Razor plays is you want to go deep into the enemy back line and just wreak havoc. But that puts the IO in trouble. So I like the Enigma pick.
Yeah, I do as well. Though overall, when I look at the HellRaisers lineup and I'm looking at this Tiny more and more, I'm thinking that it's going to be Rabel that plays it. You look at the Coddle and the Dazzle, these heroes are very easy to burst down. Yeah, Keeper of the Light farms really fast in the lane, but the thing is that whoever he's laning against is also getting free farm. A Blink Dagger Tiny, a Boots of Travel, Keeper of the Light, both do seem really scary. And on the other hand, HellRaisers are going to have the Io and the Razor coming in. On the other hand, PuckChamp are going to have to use their wits to move better around the map so that they have more heroes present when they're making an aggressive play. So because of it, I'm liking what HellRaisers have, just because this Tiny can really pop off, and you can get a position for it that's gonna allow the Beastmaster to lane against the Dazzle if that's something that you're worried about.
So what's the next best carry hero after the TB and the Sniper bans from HellRaisers that PuckChamp might look for? Is this still a Lycan game, or are we looking at a range carry now?
I don't think, I think Lycan was played in the offlane. I think that was their idea. Right. I'm not really sure that Krillat would want to get that going for himself. I'm thinking something like along the lines of a Bristleback. Okay, it's banned, so no Bristleback.
But on the likes of the hero, so there's probably something you can look for. I don't think I'm an Ursa fan at all in this game. What about Juggernaut? Is Jug anything of an idea?
Jugger against the Razor would feel really bad for the Jugger, the Lifestealer. You know, they don't do burst damage, and that is where the Razor comes in if he doesn't die really fast. I guess the CK comes as a possibility. Any illusion-based hero overall, but I think the CK looks the most interesting for me.
Well, at least for HellRaisers, we're looking at Io Razor for the safe lane, off lane Tiny Dark Willow. Sorry, Beastmaster Dark Willow, and then the Tiny going mid by the looks of it. They could still swap between the Razor and the Tiny if they wanted to shuffle things up a little bit, put Razor into the mid, for example. But I think Razor's more likely a carry option here for HellRaisers. And PuckChamp down to the clock.
You want the Tiny super farmed. The Tiny would be super farmed against the Enigma. He would be super farmed against the Coddle, but you want those high levels on him. And plus the Razor feels much more comfortable with the IO. Plus he doesn't benefit that much from free farming in the mid lane and the extra levels. So I don't think that's gonna be happening. And there's the CK. I think it's the best pick PuckChamp could have gone for, because Razor doesn't really deal too well with the CK. At I'd say any point of the game later on, it can go his way, and you have the Tiny to help you. But the thing is, if PuckChamp make a fight where it is around CK, and we saw in the previous game that Krillat has actually a good sense to understand when his team needs him, it could be a problem for HellRaisers. He lanes well. Him and the Colossus are gonna crush the Beastmaster. Dark Willow, I don't think Gilgir is gonna be stopping it too much unless he's pulling the Dazzle to the side, but the Colossus is not gonna be tricked for sure. So I'm liking this approach from PuckChamp. I like the CK even beforehand, but after previous game performance, I think that HellRaisers are gonna take this. I'm looking at this Rabel Tiny, and I just think that his movements are gonna be cleaner and faster to those compared to Young G.
Yeah, I think this is the best situation PuckChamp can look for with the CK going with the Enigma. I like the way these two heroes work, the amount of damage they're capable of dealing in a limited time span. I guess that's what we're looking at, because the longer the fight goes, the sustained damage from HellRaisers is just going to overcome PuckChamp up till to some extent. Of course, the Dazzle's going to help out, keeping those fights alive a little bit longer as well with the Graves and stuff like that. But still, the damage output's going to be an issue if Razor is fully pumped up. So they want to get rid of these heroes as fast as possible. Same setup as last game. Beastmaster to cancel the Black Hole as well from the Enigma. Something similar to that extent. Then there's the Dark Willow, who's got the range Fear. You're going to need a BKB on Malak. And, of course, Rabel on the Tiny. A powerhouse. A real powerhouse of damage.
We have really similar drafts here in some sense. You know, you have the Beastmaster and the Enigma on one side. Both of them want to take the tower and hold the area. And then you have really mobile heroes on both sides. The only difference is, you know, between the carries, but then again you have the Tiny who does burst damage. On the side of PuckChamp you have both the Coddle and the CK who do burst damage, but I'm thinking that the CK will be farming a bit more, the Coddle will be fighting a bit more, and it's just easier for HellRaisers to come into a fight with 5 of them because of the IO. So I think that's gonna be the thing that PuckChamp are gonna have a problem with, finding a fight around Krillat, setting a fight around the place where Krillat is farming. That is your main goal for this game, and I think that's where they're going to be struggling, and why I think HellRaisers are going to have a slight advantage.
Looking at some of the early starting items here, I like Roger opting to go for a bit of extra regen instead of going for boots and maybe a set of tangos. He's got the Windlace brought up instead, which I really like. And splitting up the stacks as well, and the Sentry and the Ops, not having them in the same, as Ducalis is the one to carry the Sentry award. So you can basically put it down and fake an empty inventory slot kind of stuff, you know, very, very minimal things. But if you're walking around in the mid area, you might as well be able to bait out one of those Sentries and just fool your opponents that we don't actually ward here. But yeah, small things like that. I just like the Windlace option that he's bringing up instead of just going straight for boots, because you do see a lot of heroes and a lot of players opting to go for boots of speed, and then maybe a stack of tangos and maybe a clarity or something like that.
So pretty much here's his train of thought here. So the idea is that you have some movement so that you can block the enemy small camp, so that you can kind of be annoying to the IO there to the side of the lane. And you need the extra regen, because for the first wave or two you still want to be running in with the battery assault and just attempting to do some damage, and you won't have enough regen to sustain against the IO and the Razor, because the IO and the Razor, they're gonna be fine with the headdress on the IO. So that is the idea. First two waves you're gonna be taking damage, then it's pretty much allowing the Enigma to stay on the side, and both the Razor and the IO will be running towards you. That's where you juke them with the extra movement speed. So yeah, I like his item choice really well. I think he covered everything quite nicely.
Yeah, that is definitely for sure. One thing I love to see is Gilgir on the Dark Willow. We know him for his Mirana plays. We know he's really good at the Tiny. But I think one of his most underestimated heroes, at least for the viewer's eye, is his Dark Willow. How impactful this guy can be on this hero, and how basically it enables everybody else in his team. I think Gilgir is one of those really good space creating supports a team would love to have.
For sure. I'm thinking the Dark Willow's job in this game is to slow down the CK, slow down the advance of the Keeper of the Light, because you kind of have to be afraid of the Bramble Mazes. I'm thinking about which item he would want to go for, but in my opinion right now, when you play the Dark Willow, the Shard is the best way to go, just so that there are a lot of brambles on the ground, and you make the movements of PuckChamp not so easy to do, because both the CK and the Coddle are very fast heroes, and obviously I do think that's the best build for the Dark Willow. But look at this, PuckChamp taking a page out of the HellRaisers book, and Roger is starting top.
Deciding to go for the tri-lane setup again. Roger, Battery Assault is ready. Beastmaster being the target. Chaos Ball is going to be connecting first, and with that Poison Touch as well. This is a very dead Beastmaster. Karla will take the last hit as well. CK getting first blood. And that is exactly like you said, starting off with the tri-lane setup for the first blood. They killed the CM last time. This time they get themselves the Beastmaster, and it is PuckChamp on the board the first.
And Gilgir, a slight mistake there. He didn't manage to pull the full wave. He's obviously trying to create a little bit of space for his Beastmaster, but overall we see Roger now rotating back to the bottom lane. Either way, Malik is not gonna suffer that much. He still gets a few denies there with the demonic conversion.
Very important as well in terms of how this bottom lane is going to go for the Enigma. It starts off with massing denies, things to start things off very early on. But if you're unable to slow down the Razor in the early minutes, you're not going to be slowing this hero at all. That's how grim the truth usually is. You're going to be more fearful as an Enigma than being more initiative or being much more active.
I think overall it's not Malik's job to deal with the Razor. It's his job to deal with the Razor if he's overextending, to black hole him when he runs into you. But looking at the Keeper of the Light, he's the one that's going to be rotating towards the bottom lane. We are expecting that minute 6, minute 7 when he gets his Boots of Travels. That's usually the timing. I guess minute 6 if you're on Radiant, minute 7, 7:30 if you're on the Dire side. So he's going to be dealing with him in the early mid game, and late game it's going to be the CK who is now dealing with Miero yet again.
Gilgir does have Shadow Realm. Wants to get the kill on the Dazzle, losing vision for a second. Shadow Realm back to safety. CK on the hunt for the Dark Willow. He knows Gilgir's got no tools to survive, waiting for the jukes around the trees. And that is a very desperate attempt Gilgir finally found with the Courier walking in. Can't even get the Courier kill, loses his life in the process. Miero just respawning back to the lane. That's 3 kills for PuckChamp already.
Are we seeing literally the same thing as in the previous game, just on the other side? This is pretty much how it started for HellRaisers in game number 1. I think now, with this kind of a start, it's their time to prove that they're definitely the better team. Because if PuckChamp just stomps them, it just shows that both teams can have a good start and just stomp one another. So HellRaisers are going to have to find a way to deal with the strong CK.
Love the glyph play there from Rabel, and actually able to deny, well, at least one of the creeps. He used the glyph under the tower, so Coddle's Illuminate wouldn't do any damage to the creeps and miss a couple last hits. Small things, small plays. You know you're not going to be needing that glyph anyway, so usually the mid players just dictate when to use it. Bit of an attempt, or a small battle here in the bottom lane. Roger basically just giving some moral support here for the Enigma. He's only got 9 last hits so far. Watson, well, at least Roger has the cogs as his tool to keep him away, to break the link.
That's quite nice. This is that part of the lane where Roger just using the extra movement speed from the Windlace to pull Watson and Malady to the side, and he is allowing the Enigma to farm. This is pretty much how you want to be playing the position 4 once you get the lane into a good position for your Enigma.
Is Tiny... Okay, I thought he was making a rotation by getting that down to the Miero could need some help. Chaos Bolt stun, he's down a half HP, and that's going to be the history written by somebody else and not him. That's going to be his 3rd death inside 4 minutes, and this is a very hard start from Miero on the Beastmaster. Not much that
he's not getting anything. He's literally not getting anything. And I like the point. There's nothing he can do. The Dazzle, he uses this first spell on you and you just die. You can't TP out. The Chaos Bolt is always going to be there. And Krillat can even pull you into the creeps, so you can't even play around the creeps like maybe I'm gonna pull them to the side. If you get pulled into the creeps and the Shadow Wave comes out, you're instantly dead. So yeah, CK and the Dazzle are a very formidable lane, especially against heroes like a Beastmaster who don't really like to get boots early on, so you don't have the extra mobility. You're always gonna get caught. So I think this is the time where you just buy boots on Miero just to hope for something, or you just walk into the jungle. But with Wild Access, not the ideal spell to do so.
Well, I'm going to throw you a bit of a difficult question in this situation. What's the workaround for the Beastmaster in this lane that is going so hard? Because I'm thinking, like, you're probably coming up with a couple scenarios in your mind, like he could do this or that, but is there any straight answer to actually helping out this Beastmaster? Does he just struggle on sap XP and then maybe farms later on?
There is no easy answer to it. If that's what you were looking for, you have to try to do some shenanigans either in the lane, or you have to go into the jungle until you get your Helm of the Dom. The good thing about this hero is that once you get the Helm of the Dominator, you just become so annoying that even a hero like a CK is gonna struggle staying in that lane. But he's being shut down really hard, really hard. And the best thing is get creeps with the Wild Axes. and or go to the jungle. You can't really go to the jungle because you have no Call of the Wild.
I believe Roger just denied himself to the tower. Yeah, he was very low on HP anyway. Malik is basically battling out against Watson here with these level 2 Eidolons. He's doing a lot of work and a lot of damage as well onto this Razor all by himself. And I really like to see that in a 1 versus 2 scenario, that the IO isn't able to fight these Eidolons back. And Malik is really asserting dominance in this lane just by, just by fighting back, being active. I really like that.
Yeah, definitely is. Malik is doing a really good job. The first few waves, obviously, you are going to struggle, especially when your Clockwork wasn't there.
In the top lane, the Willow versus the Dazzle, but Shadow Realm and the distance for Dazzle to throw in another right click. It won't be him going down, but the Malefice used onto the Razor. Link onto Roger, but it's only slowly giving damage for the Razor, and these Eidolons are doing work. Roger just needs a couple more Battery Assault ticks, but the Razor too fast, too furious for him to grab.
Yeah, the Eidolons didn't split yet. If they had split, that would be a dead Razor for sure. Yeah. But luckily for him, you understand it. When you see that they're gonna split, you're probably counting the hits, you get yourself out. But when you see that they've just been spawned, then it is when you can play a little bit more aggressive with the Razor. But I don't think Watson expected to take that much damage.
Yeah. Watson is getting a lot of last hits out of these as well. He's already up to 43 too, of a couple of them coming out from those Eidolons from the lane. I also grabbed a couple last hits for himself too. So despite Malik getting a lot of trades in, Watson's still full HP. Malady's still looking good with that headdress. And they're not really slowing down this Razor, at least by any means, to be honest.
They're definitely not. The Razor is getting what he wants. I already saw this build against the CK one game yesterday. The Razor going for a Maelstrom. You go for a Maelstrom, BKB, then you get a Plate Mail, and that is the way that you pretty much deal with the CK. And you're just expecting an Avalanche plus the Maelstrom procs and the Illusions die. That is actually a really good approach against the CK.
Collis, you're a bit too far, my friend. Dodged the Bramble, at least from Gilgir, and here comes Krill out from the high ground, but the Hawk gives vision just in time. That was a very optimistic attempt there from Ducalis, only doing a limited amount of damage onto this Beastmaster because he's already got the Helm of the Dom, so he's up to, I think that's 4+7, I think, because he's sitting under the tower right now getting that extra armor. And they're looking for Razor, trying to go for this play. Roger coming in with speed, and so is Young G, but that Blinding Light only pushes back the IO, so that's 1 kill, maybe 8 HP. The right clicks took so long to land, but the rocket flare is going to be finishing him off. Malady thought he was safe already, but 2 abilities, either the Illuminate or the rocket flare is eventually going to land, so finishes off the last hit with that.
I really like this move that comes out from the Coddle. I think no one showed how you should play this hero. The second you get the Boots of Travel, maybe you farm for another minute and immediately you're TPing towards your off lane, and you are pushing the enemy hero out of there. That is why you would want an Enigma, a Beastmaster, or a Lycan with you, because they provide so much push. But also, before that happened, Rabel started to rotate, and he wants to rotate even before he gets his Blink Dagger, but this time around he has been spotted.
So much activity in bottom, a lot of TPs kicking in as well, with the Razor dropping low, and down to 400, Stick Charge is burnt, but Roger makes sure that he's going to be soaking every little bit of that damage, and now Rabel is going to be here as well. Malik, back hole available. They could just kill off the Tiny with it. Tumbler Toy in. The Avalanche keeps them away. And just needs a little bit more to get close in. Miero dies on the other side of the map, and he's not even getting the bounty rune. He was literally a pixel away from it. The black hole lands in his face. And now Malady. He could tether to the creep wave if Roger wasn't just grabbing it in. The courier dies to the tower. And Malady about to drop. That's going to be another kill. PuckChamp 9-1 in. This is a complete reverse, or could say repeat from game 1, just with different teams.
Yeah, for sure. This ward from PuckChamp set it all up. They put it really deep there, expecting the tiny rotations to come out. And now Watson is in trouble yet again. Did he spot that this was going his way? He's going deeper to farm, and they're going to know that he's there.
Almost walks back in. On the high ground, they're thinking there's a ward on the cliff, but Gilgir coming in from the side, and a fresh Rabel. Haste Rune is given away, but that's going to be difficult to fight with because Tiny's now got it. Toss into the air. Grave save onto the Coddle. Young G trying to TP away, and he's able to. Just in the nick of time, that Grave is about to run out, and now Io's dropping. Roger will go down, but Io lives with 80 HP. Avalanche on 2. Beautiful combo coming out with the CK in trouble. Tossed on top of his friend. Dazzle getting stomped to the ground. And now they take down the CK as well, and HellRaisers, they bounce back with 3 kills.
That Grave actually expired before he TP'd, but Tiny is like, you know, I need 3 years to actually swing this tree, you know, so he doesn't get the kill. But HellRaisers show why it is important when you're losing to still go for plays. They go towards the bottom lane, they lose so many heroes, but with that move, they've kind of opened up the map to themselves to make another play, and now they do it this time around. It's gonna work out. Obviously, I'm not sure why Young G didn't get that haste. I think he wanted to leave it.
I think.
I still think the only way he lives there, if he actually did live, you know, but the only way he escapes without the TP with the Grave is if he gets that haste, because once the Tiny got it, it made sure that he's gonna be able to run down everyone.
Let's see what they can do with this now. A couple neutral items dropping around as well. Some PuckChamp jungle farming finally kicking in as well. Razor with the Maelstrom. What do you think about that?
I told you, I already saw it, and I think it's actually a really cool build. I don't like that Watson now isn't going for a BKB. If you don't get a BKB, the Coddle kills you. The Coddle deals 1 billion damage with 2 Illuminates and the Solar Bind, you just die. So I think that it is something that Razor has to go for, but I've already seen it. So Maelstrom BKB into a plate mail against the CK.
Yeah, against the CK definitely makes a good item choice. They finished off Roger in the river. That was the hook shot used. The Collis is the next to go down, as long as that Grave
is
going to be the difference between those. They're keeping the CK away. Enigma Tumbler toys himself into a Bramble Maze. Watson trying to keep the distance. Krillat, the raindrop charge burned, and Rabel walks in, snipes the Collis. Luminek flying in as well. Malady coming in for the extra pump up. Heals for the Tiny. Keep him alive as Krellit's in trouble. CK about the fall, but the Black Hole's going to be there from Malik and finishing off Rabel. Maybe first. The Willow falls. Malik down as well. Tiny still living for 40 HP with the Urn Ticks. Not doing enough damage. Maybe surviving. Bottle charging in between. He lives. He gets out. Roger. He gets roared up by Miero, but Miero doesn't have the damage anymore. But HellRaisers surviving with less than maybe, what, 1,000 HP in total after that fight. They only lose the Dark Willow in the process.
After that, he lives, it's alive. You reminded me of Frankenstein there for a second, but either way, the Tiny does survive, and that was just some beautiful footwork coming out from Rabel, understanding when he can go in, what he can do inside of the fight, literally playing until the very end of that fight and providing so much to his team. This is what happens when a Tiny gets complete free farm, and it is always gonna happen against the Coddle. So I'm liking that HellRaisers decided to put the Tiny in the mid lane, just understanding how much he's gonna do with an early Blink Dagger, and he's already making so many plays. But HellRaisers, they're not done. It's time to open up the top part of the map and actually allow this Miero Beastmaster to have some place to play.
See what they can get with this smoke move with Gilgir and Rabel. It's already down to half. That is the blink reveal on the Tiny. Well, not really. He has been blinking back and forth, but it's still a surprise element, especially with that smoke. Hook shot onto Miero.
That was beautiful.
Ripper helps him to push himself away, so that was really good for him. But Watson down to half HP. Jakovs is down. Roger's going to go down to the link from Watson. 2 heroes gone from PuckChamp's side, and a game that used to be 9-1. It's now 10-10.
So, 9-1 streak for PuckChamp, a 9-1 streak for HellRaisers. I guess that's only fair, but HellRaisers are back. I kind of was surprised they were hesitant about going towards the top lane, showing that HellRaisers wanted a kill. But then, you know, PuckChamp, they chose for them when they went for the Beastmaster.
Yep. There's only one way to put it this way. How basically how turns the table.
Yeah, I guess that would be the appropriate way to say.
That is basically what it is right now. So it's not going to be a repeat follow-up for PuckChamp in this case to continue on a big lead. Instead, HellRaisers bouncing back, and Roger is going to find a roaming Gilgir doing some early damage here with the Bedlam. Fighting towards his inevitable end, though. So it's going to be Dark Willow saying goodnight. Roger taking that one.
Roger has the cloak already. I can't say I'm a big fan of the full hood, the 15 magic resistance compared to the 18 magic resistance. I mean, you know, the cloak is so much more valuable than the hood itself. I'd rather he just go for the 4 staff already, but you could see that you know, Gilgir wasn't really doing any damage to the clockwork there, and usually you would expect the Bedlam to do a lot more to an isolated hero.
Gilgir and Rabel dueling up here with the bottle regens here. Ducalis not willing to stay anywhere near these two. Rabel closing up on that Echo Saber. Gonna be a big importance here for the Tiny to, well, I wouldn't say carry the game, but I feel like impact is what we're really waiting from this Tiny.
It's already been given quite a lot. I'm surprised that HellRaisers don't want to play the bottom part of the map a bit more. I guess you want to play against your around your Beastmaster. They still feel that PuckChamp are a bit more mobile because the Keeper of the Light, and they're just trying to be around the Beastmaster, slow down the game, and punish anyone who comes to the top lane. That's the play for them right now.
They're coming in from the side onto the Razor, but there's an IO inside the trees. He's already popped his relocate. They're the hell out of there. We're gone. Are they going to be fighting back? They're rotating to push middle. So tier 2 for tier 1 trade if PuckChamp doesn't push their advantage. Glyph being used. Miro's already finished off the tower. Relocate brings in the IO. Stun comes in from Malik, and they're going to be taking down Malady. Roger in the front line, keeping Watson busy, but Hook shots himself away. Takes another tower hit. He should be fine. So that's a kill for a tower. PuckChamp losing their mid tower, but killing the IO.
I had my doubts about the Manta this game for the Razor, just because of the you know, just because of the potential stuns, the solar bind as well. But you know, if HellRaisers are not gonna fight that often, the big cooldown on the Manta style, 30 seconds, it's not gonna be that much of an issue, because if they try to gank you, you use the Manta, you get yourself away, you can disjoint the Chaos Ball. Pretty much you can take away anything that PuckChamp can throw at you. It's only if it's a bit of a longer fight with more heroes that you're actually gonna be afraid of it. But HellRaisers, with their movements, they're showing we want only big team fights, full committals on the top lane, and if it's us on the bottom lane, they're gonna have Malady to save my ass every time.
There flies Roger down to another early grave. Clockwork taken out. HellRaisers with this pickoff. I think they were talking about Roshan for a second in their comms, but at the moment, Malik chased by Watson. Where are you gonna go when there's nowhere to go? Malady finishes off the Wraith Pact as well for another extra 100 gold. And they're relocating. They're going in. They're gonna be going in. They're gonna be helping out their friends.
Didn't break the Razor.
Krellat stuck in the trees here for a second here. As Rabel and Malady on the high ground. 3 seconds for the relocate to take them back to safety. So they're gonna be out of here.
Sometimes we use running circles around them as a figure of speech, but Watson was literally running circles around the Enigma there. He was dancing around him while killing him, so, you know,
bit of a taunt.
Yeah, pretty much you get that haste. It was, once he got the haste, it was pretty much certain that the Enigma was gonna die, and you know, the Gilgir Dark Willow just TP there. But they broke the tether, that's why they couldn't bring in the Razor, and that's pretty much the reason why the Keeper of the Light survived. Maybe though they made a good decision, like, we're just gonna relocate there, the enemies are gonna TP in, and we will take the Tiny out of that bad position and put PuckChamp on a part of the map where they don't really want to be at.
So, returning back to the Maelstrom topic here with the Razor, it is a situational pick, but do you think this is going to get more common as a build to go for the Maelstrom on the Razor? Or is it just to clear out the extra illusions and help out with AoE?
I still think BKB a refresher is the best build for the Razor if you can get away with going that route. So I personally don't think it's gonna be something that that's gonna be picked up so often, but every single time that you see an IO, especially if you don't have an IO, but if you have an IO, your defensive capabilities are a lot bigger, so then you can actually survive without the BKB. So no, I don't think it's gonna be too picked up too much, but against illusion-based heroes, I guess you do want it at least.
Yeah, at least in this draft where they kind of struggle, kind of don't, but helps them out a lot since CK is still strength-based hero. A lot of HP to burn through. That's going to help them out for sure. 20 minutes played here in this game. Number 2, HellRaisers valiantly brought themselves back into a tie situation versus PuckChamp. Game 1 was a real display of skill. I would recommend watching that if you're a new viewer. It was a very fun game. Alchemist pause 5s and having a lot of impact is always fun to watch when you're thinking like, oh, are they going to get any better than that? They definitely did exceed a lot of expectations. But at least showing why they are this Division 1 team that's supposed to be in Division 1 in the first place and not in Division 2.
So we mentioned that PuckChamp are gonna have issues fighting around the CK early on. I guess what is left then is to go for a smoke into the enemy territory, but with the positioning of HellRaisers, this is gonna be pretty obvious, and you're not really gonna give... Okay, I scratched that. Rabel is in trouble.
He's able to get the toss out before the Chaos Ball, but here comes the hook shot. The Vessel's going to be connected as well to the Tiny. Already have
the Enigma isn't there.
Coming from the side as well, and they're going to get the roar into the CK. Krillop being held into place, and there's a Grave coming out, but they've already taken down Roger. CK trying to TP home. Armlet toggling as he TPs, but another one's not going to happen. And Kalas is going to be down as the third hero to fall from PuckChamp, and HellRaisers will be taking everything. And as he said, no Enigma, no Black Hole, and a major piece of your team fight missing. So they smoked, giving 3, giving Roshan, and nowhere to fight back.
Okay, I'm gonna scratch that. It would have been plainly obvious if the Enigma was in the smoke, but he wasn't, so suddenly you're actually not strong enough to fight that BKB on the CK. It's not gonna help you, because these heroes on the side of HellRaisers, they're not gonna get instantly deleted. You still need your offlaner to bring control, bring damage, whatever he does.
They stole Roche. They got the kill for it, so Watson's gonna be snatching the Aegis. That's a bit of extra dosh in your pocket. Very well played there by Roger.
Yeah, beautifully done by Roger. You know, it's in the grand scheme of things probably not gonna matter, but it always does feel good, so might give them that little bit of a confidence boost. Still, the same problem remains for PuckChamp. The CK needs to be a part of the fight where an Enigma can get a Black Hole off. Now we're seeing Malik building into a Blink. He went for the Wraith Pact, but I think that this game he's actually regretting that choice. Usually you go into a Wraith Pact if the enemies have a ton of AoE damage and there's constant brawling around you. No one wants to fight around the Enigma.
Oh, poor Caudle getting chased all the way to the end, and the Grave's going to be saving Young G's life. Krillap looking for the turnaround, but this CK might have overstepped his welcome. Watson's got a lot of damage to work with, plus the Aegis, and he's going to be finishing off the Collis if he had the vision on. So, Dazzle able to walk out and unable to get the kill onto the Caudle either. CK still fine too. Just gotta be careful now. PuckChamp doesn't want a straight up 5v5 fight unless they get like a 5-man Black Hole. Benefits of having an Enigma in your team, but there's also a lot of weight on the shoulders of Malik.
Until he gets a BKB, they probably don't want to fight. They don't want to fight 5 vs 5 anyways, and HellRaisers is aware of that. They forced them to the top part of the map, and now they'll give them a fight around the CK with a Black Hole, but PuckChamp, they can't win this one.
Just gonna sack Roger, but they might have to sack even more. Malik is in the middle of these illusions from Razor. The Mantis and the trees are working so hard against them, and they can't do anything. The Terrorizer is going to be there too, and Zakala is chased onto the high ground. 3 heroes gone already. And it's just the Cuddle and the CK. They're going to be buying back. They need to get here early. Can they do something here? Can they get something done? Hookshot connecting onto the Tiny. Rogers got him in place, but Rogers the one dying first. Is there another Lumina Blast coming with the BKB from the Cuddle? Razor in the front line. Aegis going to be popping. That's going to be the first life gone. He's got a Link available. Mantis up in 2 seconds. Rabel going in for the stuns onto Dakalis. Finishes him off, and that's an ultra kill already. They might as well just give it the rampage at this pace. Krell with the BKB on the runaway, and Young G's got nothing left to give. HellRaisers another set of kills. 2 diebacks as well. at the cost of an Aegis.
That's a big issue. You know, PuckChamp right now, the only thing that was left for them in this game to do was split push with a Coddle. You could see that he was building into Lincolns just to survive, and with that force HellRaisers into a mistake, force them into a fight that they cannot take. Right now, PuckChamp, they are the ones being forced into a fight that they cannot take, and that is a problem when you have an Enigma on your side and you cannot fight.
So what do you do? Farm the BKB and the Enigma and hope for the best?
You farm the BKB for the Enigma so that you actually have a chance to win a fight when the enemies are running into you, like what HellRaisers did right now. You still didn't lose the Raxes, so that is good. You need to continue with your plan. Young G needs to get the Lincolns, he needs to continue split pushing and hope that HellRaisers in their chase of the Keeper of Light are gonna make a couple of mistakes, opening up the space for PuckChamp to go for a good smoke. That is the play. There's nothing else left for you.
Don't really need a big strat book for that one. Just need success. Just need success. One tiny victory for PuckChamp could still lead into some hope, but it is a very, very slim chance that they're holding on to currently. HellRaisers have definitely come to play, and that also means the main storyline of this entire series. PuckChamp is going to be stuck in Division 2 for the next 22-23 season. They won't be going to Division 1 at all. They're going to be stuck in Division 2 for the remainder of their last games. As if they lose this one, there's no way for them to even get to a tiebreaker, because they need 5 victories. HellRaisers with a victory here will put them up to 5. So they will no longer be able to be eligible for a tiebreaker for Division 1.
I think that PuckChamp right now, they don't deserve a spot in Division 1. They would probably get destroyed by every single team there. And, you know, it might be even better for them as a team if they stay together to stay here and actually get themselves a little bit, better at the game.
Yeah, I guess it is a rough fact, but that's totally what it is. HellRaisers is definitely the team that is much readier to head back into Division 1. They had a lot of misfortune in the Tour 2 playoffs, losing every single game, but since then, I feel like they've just stick to their guns, keep on improving their gameplay. I think Miero still maybe gets a bit more experience. We might be looking at a future hot offlane player. But in general, this entire HellRaisers lineup with Watson in the charge, you've got Gilger in your lineup, you have Grable, who is being an absolute nuisance against your opponents. And you got good results coming in for this team. A hookshot save from Roger to keep Perlat alive a bit longer, as they've already lost the Dazzle. An 8,000 lead for HellRaisers, and looking to march towards victory step by step. Not a lot of steps left until they've reached the peak. Crown King
I'm
of the
liking
Hill.
it. I'm at least liking that PuckChamp, they're keeping their composure a little bit. They understand what they have to do. It's not ideal, but it is what your lineup brings to the table. So right now, even if you're fighting against the CK, around the CK, you will lose before you have a BKB on the Enigma, so you have to dodge those as much as possible and maybe get a pick off here and there like what they're trying to do right now around Gilger.
It does work out nicely. Young G with the... You don't see that every day. Finishes the last hit with the blinding light.
You know, blinding someone usually is a pretty big damage to them. You know,
Yeah, it's
so.
usually permanent damage, but I guess death is permanent, so makes sense.
Not in Dota.
Not in Dota. Big
Is there
difference
anything
maker.
that's permanent in Dota? No, not really. Doom could have been permanent. Okay. How are they permanent? I mean, the Slark can steal those away from you. You know, so that's not really a straight up answer though. PuckChamp, did they get the BKB on the Enigma? There it is. And they have come to a point where they feel confident enough to fight. I think this is a good time for them to go on HellRaisers. If HellRaisers feel super confident right now, they might actually walk out. But yeah, they read this one perfectly. They wait a few seconds and
Good
then
opportunity
they
here. Malik, what does he get to do here? No black hole yet. Blink has been cancelled. Blink has been cancelled. This BKB's already burnt, but there's a beautiful hook shot onto the backline by Roger onto 2, but the roar is being used onto the CK. Now they really need to get something done here. Malik on the backline, still waiting and looking. Terrorize coming out. Is he going to get anything done? Yes, he does. 3-man black hole. Cancelled! Cancelled right away. Nothing they can do. PuckChamp's getting removed from the face of the earth. And HellRaisers, they take 4 heroes in their name and march on.
You mentioned King of the Hill, and yeah, you know, Gilgir, he crowned all of them there. You jump into the Cursed Crown. He didn't have a BKB. That fight started off so badly for PuckChamp because Razor, as soon as he smoked Puck, bam, Plasma Field, the Enigma can't blink in, and you are going to be fine. Everything went well. Or PuckChamp, you know, they did everything kind of well, but the Enigma needed to pop that BKB the second the smoke rock hits a 9-second BKB. He got the Lincolns on him. He had like a 2-3-man black hole to start everything off, and it might have been enough to win a fight. Probably not turn the game, but to win a fight at least one step. But with that Plasma Field connecting, yeah.
His blink was cancelled by that, so that was basically the beginning of the end. That was a great opportunity, vision-wise, choke point-wise, beautiful fight, but it's a heat of a moment situation, and he probably was thinking the same, and he's probably cussing, why is my blink on cooldown? Why am I not getting anything done here? But Roger getting roared up by Niero. And Watson's actually dying here. Watson is actually dying here. 800 HP, getting blocked by the Wraith Pack Totem and brought in by the CK. A lot of money going their way. Rabel pops his BKB and goes for the teleport away. He did give away the Razor, so that's something. And Roche is up. They've scouted it out. Both teams know about it, and I think HellRaisers is looking to maybe fight this one back. See what they do.
They have a buyback on the Razor. If Wisp stays in the base, he can start to relocate and the Razor buys back. It could be a surprise play against PuckChamp right now.
Outside of the pit, a lot of trees flying in the pit. Ooh, heavy damage flying in onto 3 heroes, Roger and Malik. Low on HP, Young G keeping the front line. Lincoln's pop by the Fey Grenade. To the side, Gilgir, Rabel, Malady. PuckChamp smoking up and going in for the fight. Blink stun onto the arrow. That's going to be the Beastmaster about to drop. PuckChamp will find one. And they get more. Trees are flying in. Malik is almost dying to the BKB pop by Young G and Krylan as they're trying to chase HellRaisers, but they're out of vision and out of sight. There's a relocate coming in as well. And IO will be pumping up the Tiny for a moment as they're now clearing out.
Back, though.
The Overlord creep has already been finished off, but that smoke ran out. Roger being chased, and that's a clockwork down. 15 seconds for Black Hole. 4 versus 4. Roche down to half HP. Rabel knows now. Watson might just go into the pit. It's actually Rabel going in.
They're gonna wait for the lanes to push in, and then they're gonna know. They're gonna know that PuckChamp are waiting for something. When someone shows on the lanes, that is when HellRaisers will want to go for Roche.
So many creeps. Yeah, you're right about this one. There's creeps already in the tier 4 towers. You've got a wave pushing in top. You've got a wave pushing in bottom. And they're just waiting it out. They're just waiting it out. PuckChamp still in the high ground position. They're gambling this one right now. They're waiting for them to go in, but HellRaisers ain't falling for it. They've got all the keys in their hands. This is painful for PuckChamp. You can think what's going on in their heads right now. Please, just go into the pit already. We can fight you there, but these creeps are finishing off every single building. There's no more statues left. The arc is gone, and now they're into the pit as they see that they're nowhere nearby. Trees flying in. Roshan taking a hell of a beating out of those, and Watson's going to be clearing out the Aegis for himself.
PuckChamp, they want to fight here. HellRaisers knows. They just know everything. Whatever PuckChamp do, HellRaisers know exactly what's going on. That is because they're just a little bit more mobile, a little bit easier for them to bring in their carry into the fight than it is for PuckChamp. And they're like, you're gonna have to show your CK on the lane sometimes, and we're gonna wait for that. That is when we will take the top part of the map.
Creep still inside the base. And only now does Young G reveal himself inside. He's going for Dagons. So literally, now it's an all-in. All into the basket. We need this basket. We need to get them eggs.
There it is. They saw heroes. They're getting the last part of the map to go in their favor. Now the only thing that is left for PuckChamp is hold your high ground. But the thing is, even then, HellRaisers can be a bit patient, wait for the right opportunity, see Coddle, maybe the Clockwork, someone pushing out the lanes a little bit farther away. That is when you strike on someone on the tier 3s, and that is how you win the game if you're HellRaisers right now. It's a very easy path to victory at this point.
35 minutes into the making of this one. HellRaisers just so close to dropping out PuckChamp from the competition. That's all they really need. Just that little push. Push them off the edge and secure the victory in the series.
HellRaiser is trying to make a statement. We are the only ones that got eliminated just because of the just because of how the bracket
Roger
went.
They found the Clockwork, and they're chasing him, burning him in the tree line. They've got all the vision they need, but can they finish him off? Blinding Light keeps them away for now. Young G, the front line, healing up the Clockwork. He's still in there. Hook shot forced onto the Razor, but the Razor's unbaffled by this. One more second. He's getting a lot of healing from his teammates, at least. Akalis and Young G really pumping up Roger. Who knows how many thousand HP they just basically provided him for an extra as he lives in the end, but there's no hook shot for a bit. He's 25 seconds. Razor on the low ground. Phantasm Illusions have also ran out of their cores if they've been obliterated. Malik able to keep them away with a Midnight Pulse, but it's just one spell after the other. There's bound to be a window of opportunity when HellRaisers are going to bounce onto the high ground.
They're just waiting for the creeps to go in, and they're going to the high ground. When the creeps are too far from the base, they're just poking to keep PuckChamp on their toes for the creeps to come in. When the creeps come in, that is when you start striking. And this is something that we're going to see more and more from them. It just shows really good discipline for the side of HellRaisers and how important it is for them to go back to the Division 1.
Still gonna need a couple more steps until they finally make it into Division 1. But at least this is one of those. And it is looking pretty good for them. Don't need to worry too much about this current situation. Roger getting controlled, and Rabel is looking for an opening to maybe blink toss, and a couple trees are gonna be flying and smacking this Clockwork down to 500 HP. And again, Watson just charging in from the low ground, finishes off the tier 3 tower. Gets hexed up by the Poison Touch Shard. LA Rax finally taking a beating, and that's so... These are the last buildings. Until it's going to be Mega Creeps. Razor pulled inside the Reality Rift, and he's down. Aegis is gone.
Now or never for PuckChamp.
Now is now or never. And Malik goes in. Lincoln's is on top of him with the Black Hole. Watson down to 1,000 HP. Not going down. Roger even trying to keep them away the backline. Watson back to full HP with the Satanic, and it's all over. There's nothing PuckChamp can do at this point. A Young G and Malik almost getting obliterated again by those flying trees by Rabel. And Dazzle braving himself up. Roar inside the fountain. Oh my goodness, are we actually going to the fountain? Oh yes we are. Watson getting stunned up as well, but he's getting pump heals from Malady. And Young G is about to die as Rabel tosses them in. And that's it. PuckChamp, they're stuck in Division 2 for the next tour. HellRaisers continue marching on, and they're going 5-1 with this victory.
They definitely are. I think PuckChamp, after that game, if anyone on the side of PuckChamp has a nice garden, he's gonna be destroying it after this one. Being destroyed by trees, by brambles, I guess they're gonna be plucking out all of their roses, because that is something that makes you hate things in the real world as well. HellRaisers is not allowing them to move one bit, and when you're stuck in so many brambles, that tree volley just does so much damage. Watson, you know, him not dying the black hole, I don't even want to talk about it. You use everything you have on this Razor, but Watson has just itemized so perfectly for this game that PuckChamp, they can't do anything for him. He wasn't even tethered by the Wisp for a good part of that black hole, and he was still fine. That is just a big statement there made by HellRaisers. They even started losing this game. For people who don't remember, it was 9-1 for PuckChamp, and who would have even thought that this is the same game?
Exactly. This was with a similar start from game 1, but it completely ended up different after that, because this was again just HellRaisers really showing that that talent and that prowess in terms of their skill level and how ready they were for this. Like we looked at a goofy draft in game number 1 with a pristine result, and then we looked at game 2, the way that they battled it out into the end, and just forcing PuckChamp into outside of their comfort zone. This was a very hard game for PuckChamp, and their execution, they weren't able to get the right plays. I feel like HellRaisers were reading the map a bit better than they were. The rotations were pretty tough for them. The draft was maybe lacking in one or two aspects, but I think it's not really a draft issue. I think it's just HellRaisers being the better team today.
No. When I mean, you can put it as a draft issue if you're thinking, okay, PuckChamp are a little bit of a weaker team, and it's harder for them to bring the CK into the fight. Thus, because they're weaker, they're not going to be able to execute their draft to the fullest. But overall, the drafts are relatively equal. It's just that HellRaisers, they played the map faster, and even at the times when they were losing, they forced PuckChamp. I think that is the main point of this game. You're losing 9-1, you run towards your enemies, you die, or you were losing 6-1. You die, and immediately after that you make a play when you know that PuckChamp aren't ready. That is when HellRaisers actually started their comeback into this game.
Oh yeah, for sure. But this again just shows how HellRaisers wants to get back into Division 1. They're now tied with Nemiga at 5-1, and we have Cybercats who are 4-2. So Cybercats needs to win a series, and Nemiga and HellRaisers need to lose their games. Basically to force out a 3-way tiebreaker. So otherwise, it's HellRaisers and Nemiga. If Nemiga wins one game, they're through. If HellRaisers wins another game, they're also through, and Cybercats will be left as a pretty sore third place because they started off their season so well, but don't want to step ahead of each other. HellRaisers and Cybercats are actually playing against each other on the 14th of July. That's going to be a huge game for both of these teams. Nemiga,
the last series.
The last series as well. Nemiga's going to be playing X3 on Sunday, so that's that. Any last remarks? Because I've just been told that by the admin that the HellRaisers manager told we're not giving any interviews for today. The guys are focused in their gameplay, so might as well. I mean, they've earned it. This was a really good 2-0 victory. I would have loved to ask a couple questions about their thought process in game number 1, but I mean, I guess they've earned the rest in a sense.
Well, you mentioned the Nemiga X3 and the HellRaisers Cybercats. I would say that HellRaisers and Nemiga are pretty sure to go forward. I kind of don't see, after what X3 has done, I can see them winning against Nemiga, but I can't really put my finger on Cybercats winning against HellRaisers, because Cybercats, a very one-dimensional team, very aggressive player on Shigetsu, very aggressive heroes on him, and I think HellRaisers, they're preparing really well for these series. Even when sometimes we can't tell what they want to do with their draft, they actually have a good idea how to play it against their opponents, and they make it work. And I think against Cybercats, there's no way that they're losing. But that series is going to be, if X3 wins Nemiga and Cybercats win against the HellRaisers, we're going to have a really cool 3-way tie for the first and the second place here in Division 2. But I'm just a little bit pessimistic about that ever happening, just because Cybercats, I mean, I love their playstyle, but I don't think they've perfected it so much that when someone is expecting it, a tier 1 team, I can put HellRaisers there, or a tier 1.5 team is expecting it, that you can actually beat them. They need a bit more time to practice their style.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, I really like Cybercats this season, but I would not categorize them in the top 2 out of the teams that are at hand currently. So maybe a close second to Nemiga, but currently HellRaisers and Nemiga are looking at like the 2 hottest teams in the division for sure to go to Division 1 and earn their spot, or HellRaisers to retain their spot, and Nemiga to show if they're made out of that, because Rune Eaters, XV Gaming were able to get there, and Nemiga didn't have the great season in Tour 1. Tour 2 was basically just, being a bit absent, I guess you could put it that way. And this one has been a good run for them. So let's see if they can keep it up. On that note, we're done for today. Tomorrow we're going to take a break day, and on Sunday we've got Division 1 and Division 2 Dota kicking in your way. So we're going to start the day off with Nemiga versus X3. So already one of those important qualification series is up at hand to finish off Division 2 for Week 5, followed by Team Spirit versus Mind Games and Bet Boom versus Outsiders. So stay tuned for Sunday for more East European action. But I believe we're done here. Thank you so much for today. Harry, thank you so much, everybody watching at home. You've been a big pleasure to have you as our audience for today. We've had some great Dota, especially Game 1 was a really, really fun game to watch, and this Game 2, just a show of prowess and skill by HellRaisers, and maybe we'll get to see more of that cool Dota in the future.
Yeah, we're hoping for that, and Panda, glad to have you back. We didn't have you for 2
Thank
weeks, and everyone missed you. Everyone missed you so much.
Good to be here as well. But hey, we're taking a break from now. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Take care and good night, everybody. Bye bye.